What do you get when you mix billions of dollars of oil money, political corruption, and theocracy? Neom the Line. Quite possibly the dumbest architectural endeavor ever attempted.
For too long, humanity has existed within dysfunctional and polluted cities that ignore nature. Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place. Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life.
When I think of Saudi Arabia, the first thing that comes to mind is sustainability. In fact, I think of Mother Nature herself.
The line's communities are organized in 3 dimensions. Residents have access to all their daily needs within 5-minute walk neighborhoods.
You know where else all of your daily needs can be met within 5 minutes of each other? Any metropolis in the US.
And the line's infrastructure makes it possible to travel end to end in 20 minutes with no need for cars, resulting in 0 carbon emissions.
I mean, why would you need cars when half of your population is not legally allowed to drive? I'm sorry. They actually lifted that in 2018 as part of a plan to have favorable public relations. But don't worry, women still can't make basic human decisions for themselves without the authorization of a male guardian.
Services are autonomous, saving you time and effort. Designed by world-leading architects, the line is 500 meters tall, 200 meters wide, 170 kilometers long, and housed within an elegant mirror glass facade.
Who the fuck actually cares about how tall a building is? This is the Middle East's attempt to mog the West, but it's never going to happen. Because to them, this is actually a dick measuring contest. How about we start with adequate plumbing and electricity? Start with human rights. How about some culture, food, and art? This is a soulless dystopia that appeals to no one. That's where I want to live, in a glass wall in the desert. If I ever had the misfortune to spawn on the line, the first thing I'm doing is throwing myself off the wall. How did this actually get the green light? And why are we talking about this now? This entire AI slop promotional video is trying to hit a buzzword word count, only to make people stuck at the 3rd grade reading level froth at the mouth. To the rest of the world, Saudi Arabia may look like a quasi-medieval kingdom where women struggle for basic rights, where bearded clerics run the courts, and where convicts are routinely beheaded by the sword in public. But the Saudi monarchy, like its neighbors in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, has long cherished dreams of leapfrogging into a high-tech future. The last Saudi king created plans for 6 new cities in the desert, all billed as transformative steps toward a world beyond oil. The main reason why the Middle East is building cartoonish cities is because oil is the only thing holding up their economy. And guess what? Live by the spice, die by the spice. I don't make the rules. Instead of industry, they are pumping all of their money into giga projects that no one cares about, similar to Dubai and Qatar. All for Europeans to holiday and flex their Louis Vuitton starter pack satchels with turkey teeth. Now, the Saudis have announced a fantasy that makes all their previous efforts look tame. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS for short, the de facto ruler, released a short film in January outlining his plans for the line, a postmodern ecotopia to be built on the kingdom's northwest coast. It will be a narrow urban strip 106 miles long with no roads, no cars, and no pollution. MBS, as the Crown Prince is known, plans to pour $500 billion into the line and related projects, which is a lot of money even for the Saudi standards. He calls the line a civilizational revolution to be inhabited by 1 million people from all over the world. Why anyone would want to move there, and why a city should be shaped like a strand of capellini is anyone's guess.
No, that's a Western media just shitting on anything in the Middle East.
I'm not going to entertain thoughtless comments like that. If you can't see why this is a joke, I have snake oil to sell you. As MBS conjures this brave new world, no journey will take more than 20 minutes. 0 carbon emissions. You get the sense that his chutzpah is nothing short of metaphysical. He appears to believe that nature itself is at his command. The Neom prospectus described a new way of life from birth to death, reaching genetic mutations to increase human strength and IQ. According to a 2019 article in the Wall Street Journal, cloud seeding would bring rain to the desert. Yeah, that'll go real well. If you have to force it to rain in your biome, it's probably not meant to rain in your biome. What the prince doesn't say is that there are already thousands of people living in harmony with nature in the same area. A tribal community that has been there for centuries and is now being replaced by the project. One of these tribesmen made videos protesting the evictions, videos of a different sort you might imagine than the one MBS has produced. He was shot dead last year in a confrontation with Saudi security forces. That is brilliant. The film's final words, spoken as a multicultural parade of faces flickers across the screen, are deliciously preposterous. A home to all of us. Welcome to the line. As I heard it, I couldn't help wondering about the woman who spoke those words. Would she even consider moving to a remote desert city to be subject to 24/7 surveillance and the whims of a murderous prince? My guess is that she did what so many others who work for the Saudis have done. Spoke her lines, picked up the check, and fled. Anyone who has spent time in Saudi Arabia's existing cities can sympathize with the desire to start anew. They are dusty and ugly, incredibly based. To pretend otherwise is lying to yourself. That shouldn't be problematic to say.
Oh, you're being racist towards an entire...
No, the land is ugly. Why is that bad? That's why they're trying to appeal to Westerners with what we know. Nature, resources, beauty, culture. And all of that is impossible to achieve without some sort of secularism that looks out for the people. Narrow-minded clerics preside over corrupt bureaucracies that are resistant to change. But the Saudi landscape is already dotted with failed or abandoned mega projects. Some Saudis have responded to MBS's film with acid comments about the need to renovate the country's existing towns and neighborhoods before throwing billions into another Xanadu. And the Saudi dissident Jamal Khashoggi got murked the second he stepped into Turkey. Oil price and production developments remain critical to Saudi Arabia's fiscal position. Despite efforts to diversify the economy, oil still accounted for about 40% of the real GDP in the last few years. The share of the oil economy in nominal GDP varies significantly with oil prices and was about 30% in 2021, but is projected to increase to about 40% in 2022. The importance of oil for the economy is also reflected in the large shares of fiscal revenues. Oil revenues averaged 75% of total budget revenues since 2010, with large variations peaking at 93% in 2011. In an attempt to diversify their portfolio, they're banking on Westerners to point and soy face at their structures. We already know it's happening in places like Dubai, government-funded astroturfing campaigns to encourage tourism. This announcement was a highlight of the 1 billion followers summit orchestrated by Dubai's New Media Academy. It also saw the graduation of 90 budding influencers from the social media professional program. Imagine having to attend influencer school. HRH Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum emphasized the vital role of media in mirroring societal values and aspirations. Influencers, in his view, are pivotal in broadcasting the UAE's narrative globally. A narrative rich in tradition, cultural achievements, and the dynamism of its youth. Wow. At least you can post whatever you want in the United States. The NSA may be listening, but at least they allow you to shitpost. The United States is not much better. Here's a fun fact for you. If you hold a Saudi Arabian citizenship and they find out that you're chirping them on Twitter, you're thrown in jail. On the surface, tourism and foreign investment are the obvious plays to diversify their economy. But that's not the entire purpose of this $2 trillion disaster. Spoiler alert, it was never going to be built in the first place, or at least finished. Neom the Line and projects of that ilk under Saudi Arabia's 2030 vision exist to siphon and launder money. Not for Saudi Arabia because they're a sovereign state, but definitely for foreign investors. And since no one behind this project has a firm grasp on mathematics, science, engineering, architecture, or physics, they are handicapped, hard stuck in Wood 5 ELO when it comes to urban planning. A line is probably the last shape you want to pick when designing a city. There's a reason why most cities are nearly circular. It's It's because it's optimal in every aspect. This question was even asked on the r/urban planning subreddit. What is the best layout for a city? And the top comment, a long linear city that stretches out for miles and miles through a desert seems to be the best idea. But they even go one step further. Saudi Arabia unveils plans for octagonal floating port city in Neom. Dude, who is coming up with this, which would be the world's largest floating structure as part of the Neom development?
The world's best, the world's largest, the world's tallest.
Stop trying to be cool. It's never going to happen. It's so juvenile and insane to me that a government with that much power thinks like a 4-year-old. You know what's crazy? I've built more impressive structures in Halo 3 Forge mode. Set to be one of the 10 regions within the Neom development in the northeast of Saudi Arabia, Oxagon will become a port city on the Red Sea, designed to take advantage of shipping traveling through the Suez Canal. You know what's a sign of a flourishing society? Being sentenced to death when you criticize your government's decisions. How anyone can defend that is just sad. But guess what? Is this the end of the line? Saudi Arabia forced to scale back plans for desert megacity. You don't say. Crown Prince's pet project was sold as a 105-mile-long city of the future, but finances may have led to a rethink.
I see trees of green, and I think to myself,
She's running to the portal to Neom the Line.
what a wonderful.
No, don't do it! There goes all of her rights. This is worse than Akon City, and I didn't even know that that was possible. This article is from April of this year, so this is the latest and greatest on our Arrakis utopia. It was billed as a glass-walled city of the future, an ambitious centerpiece of the economic plan backed by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Now, however, plans for the mirror-clad desert metropolis called the Line have been scaled down, and the project, which was envisaged to stretch 105 miles, is expected to just reach 1.5 miles by 2030. Yeah, God nerfed that shit real quick. Dreamed up as a linear city that would eventually be home to about 9 million people on a footprint of just 13 square miles, the Line is part of a wider Neom project. Now at least one contractor has begun dismissing workers. The project, which had been slated to cost $1.5 trillion, was pitched as a reinvention of urban design. However, it has long attracted skepticism and criticism, not least after the reported execution of several members of the Howitat tribe who had protested over plans to construct on the ancestral lands. I'm just laughing at the absurdity of this. Then, there were reports of Prince Mohammed's changing vision for the project, budget overspends, and an ever-changing roster of key staff, with some who have worked on the project describing it as untethered from reality. To watch the Crown Prince's promotional video is to be immersed in a distinctively Saudi form of arrogance, blending religious triumphalism and royal grandiosity. But in classic Crown Prince fashion, Saudi Arabia's economy minister rejected recent reports that the kingdom's 1.5 trill Neom mega project, a futuristic desert development on the Red Sea coast, is scaling back some of its plans. All projects are moving full steam ahead. Yeah, We set out to do something unprecedented, and we're doing something unprecedented, and we will deliver something that's unprecedented. Bro is really trying to stand on business. In early April, reports emerged in Western media outlets that the Line project would undergo a reduction of 98.6%. Citing anonymous sources with knowledge of the matter, the initial report by Bloomberg said that the Saudi government's original plan to have 1.5 mil living in the Line by 2030 was slashed to 300K. And the reason for the supposed scale back is because Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, the Public Investment Fund, has not yet approved NEOM's budget for 2024. Asked what kind of a message the reported timeline and scale changes would send to private investors, Al Ibrahim said that the decisions would be made to suit the needs and returns of the projects, and that all the developments within NEOM are seeing growing investor interest. I don't even think they're gonna make 1.5 miles of this damn thing. It's almost impressive how stupid this entire project is. But you know what's not stupid? Opening up foreign investors to this channel, which is why you can subscribe to the Third Eye Global Patreon. For $5 a month, you will get access to my exclusive Discord server, which is essentially a digital utopia. Imagine giving back shots in the reflection of the line.
What?